All right, so everybody who's tuning in right now, what we're trying to do is there's obviously a lot going on in in the world and specifically America right now, which sounds very American to say that we're the only people with problems. But right now, we happen to live in America, so we know our problems, and we have lots of them right now, coming from quarantine to protest to police brutality to lots of different things. So I wanted to grab a couple of Christian artists who are doing good work in their community to highlight some of the good that's going on. So first up is Angie Rose. And second up, we're going to have Rockstar GT. And third, we're going to have Richard Cutright of the Just His League. Um, the Zoom thing still ain't working. So while it still goes, Angie, let me just ask you to start it off. Like, how has this whole thing affected you? Like the George Floyd and the protests and the unrest and just you in general.
Yeah, I think for me, I've been emotionally entangled. Um, like everybody knows that. Well, if you know me, you know I'm from the Bronx, pretty much. Born and raised in the same neighborhood, and just to see like my friends and family basically like going through situations like this is just a lot to take, and it leads you to action. I think it provokes action, and that's been my biggest like prayer, and even just like what I'm thinking about the most. Like, how do you act in a way that doesn't just do something now, but does something that has a long term effect?
Okay, so obviously the Bronx were affected with the protests, and there was a lot of rioting and looting that went on, specifically in one neighborhood. You're in the Bronx, so how did that affect you? And were you able to get in there and do some community work afterwards with your organization? Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Fordham Road was affected. My church, The Flow, is located on Tremont Ave. It's not too far. Um, and our members and our pastors and our leaders are from the Bronx. And so it wasn't just something that happened for us. It was like these are families that we know, families that we serve, families that we've prayed for that are now affected
Mm-hmm.
by something that was emotional and not completely right. We can't blame people for being emotional. We can
Right.
blame the lack of leadership and the right placement of that emotion, because that emotion is fire, right? If directed in the right way, it can provoke such a great change. But anyway, so we have in our church The Flow. Every week, every Monday, there's a pantry open for families, and so literally that just ignited. Like after the situation, it's just like, well, nothing changes, right? I think a lot of times we wait to act when bad things happen versus just acting, right? Just moving and just serving and just being. And what I saw happen in this circumstance was that because we have committed to being consistently active, we were ready for what came next.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were in there though afterward, what was kind of the like when you just kind of look at the landscape of how things are, how is that community doing now? How are they going to be able to recover and whatnot?
I think one thing that I learned from Puerto Rico was that in great tragedy, you often experience a great resurgence.
Right.
And that's like literally exactly what we saw. We saw a tragedy. We saw something that we haven't experienced in a long time. We haven't experienced something like this since like the Bronx is burning back, like when my dad was a kid.
70s, yeah.
So this is a long time ago. And yet, like kids from my college, kids from my high schools were literally the next morning, like, yo, they did something bad. Let's go do something good. And tons of people headed down to Fordham Road and started cleaning up and started like fixing the errors. And so what I see in that is hope. What I see in that is faith. What I see in that is restoration. What I see in that is the ability for me to be a better fisherman of men, if that makes sense. I'm going to do the things that we've always been doing, which is serving the community, giving, right? But now I have a greater chance to reach a bigger audience, one on one. And I don't just mean me, I mean people that love Jesus now have an opportunity to reach people more, because there's pain. And when there's pain, there's a world that needs healing, and we can be that.
Right. Now, prior to this, you were already dealing with the coronavirus, and I've seen some of your pictures. You're out there with the mask on, and you're loading the food, and you're doing all the things. So that was already like a, a big challenge that you were already facing, and then now you have all this on top of it. So I guess maybe going back before the protest and all that, what were you doing in terms of community work as far as coronavirus and getting people fed and just
Yeah.
kind of being the voice out there?
Well, I think something again, to go back to Puerto Rico, we had never seen in New York what we saw in Puerto Rico. And that was the first time that I was like, oh my God, this is the same thing. Like, we have to figure out how to get pallets of food, how to fit them,
Yeah,
how to store them, how to get them in. And so that's what we did. But bless God that because of the work that we had done already, I was prepared. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't nervous. I was like, all we got to do is work together.
right.
Because I saw that be true with people I didn't know. But this time we have the upper hand because this is my family. I'm in my city. I'm in the Bronx. And I'm working with my church, with my father's church, with organizations, with even like we had a Hindu partner. We did an event 3 weeks ago. Her name is Bharati. We worked with a girl named from the Bharati Foundation. And we put
Right.
together an event that served over 500 people, 100,000 pallets of food. And literally all we
Right.
had to do was work together. We had probably 15 community organizations. I'm talking about NYPD, PAL. We don't care. If
Wow.
you're willing to help us and rock with us and get our community fed, then come through. We had a DJ. We had DJ Sammy. You guys probably know
That's
who that
great.
is,
Yeah.
Rapzilla, right? And we just
Yeah.
lit up the block and we showed them love. The Bronx Borough president came out. And again, this shows that consistency is key. Because what happened was I went online and I did what I did the first time that I ever started doing anything to bless people. I said, do you guys want to help me? I made a
Right.
video and I said, do you guys, if you buy some merch, 100% of the profits go in there. If you donate to my Cash App, if you donate to my website, if you donate to my Zelle, we're doing this. And people signed on and people helped us.
Yeah.
And now the blessing is that we're going to keep doing it. So we have another event June 13th in Mott Haven, which is one of the poorest neighborhoods in the Bronx. The poorest congressional district in the nation is
Wow.
what we serve.
Wow.
Every Monday, every Wednesday, partner with World Center Kitchen, partner with tons of organizations every Monday and every Wednesday. But now we got to take it up a notch because now we have to show that we're not just present, but that we feel what the community feels because that's the type of God that I believe we serve.
Right. And how's the reception for people like when you're out there? Obviously it's a Christian organization and you're out there kind of just throwing hope in people that are hopeless. How's that reception like?
It's beautiful, to be honest. I say it every time, but every time it is truer. They bless me more than I bless them because we have the ability to see that with nothing, right? I'm
Yeah.
not, we're from the same community we're serving. We're not rich. We don't have a ton. And yet, with the little bit that we have, we get to
Mhm.
bless. And consistently, I am reminded that that is the purpose, that is the biggest blessing that I have, period. Right? I see people that struggle, that go through pain on the daily, and for a second, I get to lend a light to them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing to compare to that.
That's amazing. And as you kind of go further with your unstoppable foundation, are you looking to spread through all parts of New York City? Or right now, I mean, obviously you're doing Puerto Rico and Bronx kind of back and forth.
We go where they call. Um, I came from a different world before I came into like this, right? And so I call
Yeah.
myself a glorified middleman. Um, my job is to provide for the people that are providers, for people that have established themselves as staples in the community. If we have extra funds, because my fans don't come from the Bronx alone, right? I got
Right,
fans
right,
from the
right.
Bronx, but my fans are from Houston, from Puerto Rico, from Atlanta, from LA, from all these different places. And if they're giving from all those places, then I can bless all those places. And so when I'm allowed, and typically this is how it's gone, it's not foolproof, but so far in the last 3 years since we started, I meet people by chance. And I have a beautiful conversation, often over a meal,
Hmm.
and we decide that we should bless a community together. And no, since we've started doing that, they've been lifelong partners. There's not been one person that I've done an event with and for the foundation that is not still supporting and that we cannot still call and go back to that
Right.
community.
So that's amazing, first of all, because then it helps you even expand your borders because you know that there's going to be people helping you along the way too. Like that support system is always there, which is always really important when you're doing something like this, because without that support system, you kind of feel like you're alone. But moving forward, like what do you think communities need during this time, and what are some of the things that you hear?
Yeah. Well, for one, I think that they need us, and I don't mean that in the generic sense. I mean us, like what we're supposed to be as believers. They need us to be present. They need us to show our faces. They need to hear our voices. And what do I foresee? Was that the second part of that question?
What do you hear? Like what do you hear from people in the communities? Like what they actually need?
Well, there's a new poverty has been present, but there's a new type of poverty emerging. And then there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of suicidal thoughts. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear. And again, like I can feed you, and I can give the money, and we can do all that. But if we can't provide the rest, then it's kind of a moot point. And so, for me, I think what our community needs is like therapists that believe in Jesus, people that are willing to sit down and have a conversation and listen. Even if it's with social distancing, I think people need people. People need relationship. They need love. They need authenticity.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially during social distancing, because even if you are distant apart, like just to have an actual human interaction that isn't, I'm gonna run into the grocery store and I'm gonna grab a bunch of stuff and then I'm gonna leave and not look at anybody.
Yeah.
Or you do the thing when you walk past someone and you smile, but they can't see you because you're wearing a mask.
Yep.
And you feel kind of dumb. Just kind of knowing that you can have a
Can't help
conversation
it.
with somebody.
Yep.
Right. You give someone like the nod or like the smile and you're just like, oh wait, they don't
Yeah,
see.
it didn't count.
Everybody just looks angry. So yeah, I think that's super important. All right, Angie, do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to add about anything we spoke about? Oh, and Chad Horton just dropped in. Let us know if you're aware of any organizations dedicated to Black that we can help contribute our knowledge to.
I don't know offhand, but I do. My friend, my road manager, all that good stuff. BK Prodigy online. He has a list of Black businesses that you can support in this time. As far as where we can lend our resources, I think social media is all I got right at this moment.
All right, so I guess that last question again. Anything you want to leave everyone with? You're out.
I think just stay committed to whatever it is that you are purposed to do. In all of those things, make sure that the hinge is love, that the focus is love. In this time, that's really the only. I mean, at all times, that's the only thing that's going to cure. But in this time specifically, we have an opportunity to be vocal, and not just with our voices, but like with our bodies, with our mouths, with our actions, making moves that advance our community. I think is the only option right now.
Okay. And I guess that's going to do it. Everyone stay tuned for Rockstar JT. This was Angie Rose. Angie, where can we find more information about you and your music and everything that you're doing?
Angie Rose Music with a K.com. That's it. Or Unstoppable. I mean, literally Google Unstoppable. You're going to see the vibes.
That's it. All right. Be safe out there. Continue the good work. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Blessings.
All right. Bye. Everybody, we are here with Rockstar JT.
What up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What up? So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about communities and the chaos that's happening. So kind of being a community during the chaos and speaking to Christian artists that are being leaders within the space right now. Right. So the first thing that I want to ask you is when all of this went down with the George Floyd incident and just kind of this terribleness that we saw, how did that affect you immediately?
Yeah. So man, wow. So being a black man, I feel like it affected me like in a way where it's just like, what in the world, man? Like because just like 2 weeks before that, Ahmaud Arbery, was murdered.
Right.
Well, the video came out.
Right.
He was murdered before that, but the video came out. So, like when I looked at it, I was like hurt because it's just like, yo, like this is back to back to back to back to back in our communities, bro. And it's just like, man, like we need to like as the body of Christ. I've had people I have people like just calling me liberal and so much other things
Yeah.
that hurt me, man. And I was just speaking up for what I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about justice for all. Like when you pledge allegiance to the flag, you say justice for all. So it's just like I'm passionate about that, and I seen that video, man. I couldn't watch the whole thing, but it's just like, man, am I an animal or a human being? If that makes sense. So yeah, man, I was really really hurt.
No, I get that 100%. So after this happened, I remember I texted you and you told me you were flying. You were about to go on a flight. So were you flying back to Montgomery to
Oh
to
no,
take part to
nah,
take part in the protests and everything?
got you. So yeah, so I was actually flying to Philly. So I'm at this ministry joints because like all of my shows got canceled. I had a
Yeah.
lot of shows lined up this summer, and because of quarantine, they got canceled. So it's just like I'm passionate about serving the local church and
Yeah.
serving the community. My community is really really important to me, and I do have like friends and family in Philly, like who I grown close with. And I've seen the riots and everything, and I'm like, Lord, like this isn't going on in my city. So I need to go be vocal there, but I need to be representing my city as well, if that makes sense. So it's
Yeah.
just like I committed to doing actually being at this ministry called the Philadelphia Project for the summer. I did it last year, just trying to grow in my faith because
Mhm.
I really take my faith serious. Like it's just like if you like you can be for Black lives all day, but if you don't take your faith serious, like Jesus is gonna be the only one who gonna penetrate the heart of man. And I do like you don't have to be a Christian to protest. Don't get me wrong, but I want my desire is to have people's hearts transformed. So I have
Yeah.
to grow deeply in the word for that to happen because Jesus is the only way. So
Word. So you flew to Philly and then you wound up flying back?
well, nah. So that video, that protest was like, I protested on Saturday. I flew out Sunday. So
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
I protested on that
Okay.
Saturday, and I was like out there, and then like you had the news taking pictures and stuff, and then
Yeah.
Sunday I had the flight. So I'm being honest, if all of this Ahmaud Arbery and well Ahmaud Arbery already happened, but if all this George Floyd stuff would have happened like 2 weeks before, I wouldn't have went because it's just like I feel like I needed to be there for my city, and
Right.
they're rioting and causing a lot of yeah, it's crazy, bro. You know what's going on.
Yeah, because I was like, dang. So I thought like you were in Philly because I just saw that you were going back to Philly today. So then I was like, wow, was he like just going back and then went back again? I was like, that's dedication. But
Oh
no, so
wow.
you did it before. So tell me about that picture though. You wound up on the same like famous steps that Martin Luther King spoke on, and that is a nice screenshot of you kind of like up there looking iconic. Maybe maybe in 60 years we'll be looking at JT on those steps in a history book somewhere. So
Oh wow, that's
tell
crazy. So
tell
yeah,
me tell
man.
me about that, how that happened and how you got on the news and all that.
Yeah. So what a lot of people don't know is like I'm really really active in my community. Like I'm really active in my community. Like people respect me. Like so like CHH. Like I feel like is like really like we really have leaders, man. You feel what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
a lot of people when they see us, it's just like they don't know the scheme. They don't look and they don't see like the grand scheme of things. Like people who are in the circle, like in the CHH bubble, they don't see the grand scheme of things sometimes because it's just like they just wrap their mind around that. But it's just like for people in my city, um, I quote unquote made it. Like made it when I announced a lot of the stuff like with the RMG joint and stuff like that. Like I had the news actually come to my house, like the newspaper come to my house, and I had different people like hit me up like, yo, you made it, you know, I'm not like, no, that's not really the case, but it's just like leaving a mark. I was always like really popular in my school, so everybody know I stand for justice and I stand for Black lives and I stand for truth.
Right.
So it's just like I was popular in my city. You know what I mean? So I'm popular in my city. So a lot of people like, oh, JT, go speak, go speak, go speak. A girl named Shania, she was like, you should go speak, go speak. I was like, yo, should I play the background or should I go speak? And then she was like, yo, like they need a voice from a young Black Christian man. And I was just like, so I spoke, and it was just like God gave me this type of boldness. And then the news recorded it. WSFA Montgomery, Alabama, they recorded it. Montgomery Advertiser, they recorded it, and it was like, yo, like these lives really do matter, and they should matter to us. Like Black lives should matter to us. So it's just like we all record. They recorded, and I was just like, yo, I don't know why they took the picture of me. And then I went to the website. It was like local rapper Rockstar JT protesting on the steps, and I was like, oh, I seen the picture. I'm like, am I a superstar or something now?
You are, yeah. Now you're superstar JT. You're not Rockstar JT anymore. Iconic history icon JT. No, but that's dope, man. So then you wound up going back to Philly, and now you're involved with some of the protests and things there, right?
Yeah, man. So it's a little bit more intense here, though, man. It's a little bit more intense here. Like actually yesterday we went downtown, Center City, Philly, and like you had police lines, like, yo, all over the place. Like I'm talking about police buses, people on the buses, like, yo, I'm like, dang, I didn't know it was this crazy. So I walked to the other end, like it was like a 10-minute walk. And I walked, and it was crazy because I seen like tanks, bro, literally tanks, and
Wow.
and the National Guard out there with like they had M4s like on their bodies, and I was like, dang, like I really believe that God is calling me to go pray for these people, because I'm like, it can't be like, I'm looking at these. I seen a video on Instagram the other day, and it was this dude, actually, he couldn't say it out loud, but it was this Black soldier. He was like whispering what the protesters were saying, and I was just like, yo, like it gotta be something deeper. So I'm like, okay, let me go pray for these people. And so I talked to them, and they already got, like, people are prejudiced. Everybody have prejudices about them, even myself. Everybody does, you know. So I prejudged them, and I'm just like, dang, like they this and that. But I'm like, Lord, I have to check my heart, because these people are probably forced to do that, which they were. So a lot of the like National Guard, they didn't even want to be out there. A lot of the police didn't even want to be out there. They agree with the Black Lives Matter movement, and not like the whole organization, but I'm just saying the movement, like, it was more than just organization, right. Movement, you know. So they agree with that, and it was just like, for them, like the police officer said he didn't see his kid or his family in 3 days. His back was hurting, his feet was hurting, you know, because they got bomb threats and everything in Philly. So they had to stay out there all night, and they probably out there right now. So it's just like, man, National Guard, I had to pray for these people, because just like, I said, you're hot in this suit. I know you're hot. He was like, I'm very, very hot. I don't see what's funny about it, but it's just like, man, these people are putting their life on the lines to protect us. They don't want us to, you know, be harmed. So they had that so we can be safe. And I say it's very intimidating, though, because a lot of the protesters could have a misconception that you're going to shoot them down. Like, because we see people get shot with rubber bullets. So how do they know that you're not going to actually shoot them with real bullets this time?
Right. And I feel like in every city and kind of every situation, it's been different. Like, fortunately for you, this was a good situation. Where I live in Staten Island, there's been 6 peaceful protests without a hitch, nothing, no arrest, you know, nobody fighting, no rioting, no looting. Like, everything has gone perfectly, which is awesome.
Right.
And you know, the media is not necessarily going to show that, but most of these protests have been like in that vein. But of course, when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of people in one spot, even the most peaceful protest, there might be like 1 or 2 incidents, because you're dealing with so many people over hours and hours, you know, of a day, and a lot of tempers and whatever. Now, the rioting and the looting that happens at night, that's a totally different thing. But one thing that you mentioned about the difference between like saying Black Lives Matter and then following like maybe the Black Lives Matter organization. Because I feel like a lot of people hear the Black Lives Matter, like the organization, how it started, you know, that thing. And a lot of people have problems with that. Mm. And I'm like, you don't even necessarily have to follow the organization. We're just trying to say that Black Lives Matter. So you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah. So I know people gave analogies on it like all week. It's just like this. I've seen a lot of people say all lives matter, and it's just like that's very well true. But at this time, it's just like say if I break my hand, right? And my other hand, if I break my right hand, right? I broke my right hand. I'm not gonna go when I go to the doctor. I have two hands, yes, but right now they need to focus on my right hand because this is the one that's broken. My left hand is functioning properly right now. So it's just like okay, as a movement, we're moving. As movement, it's bigger than, like he said, it's bigger than an organization. We're a movement who supports Black lives. Like it's not. I'm not like I don't even know about the organization like that. But the statement Black Lives Matter has to be a movement because it's just like it like we have to be able to come together all and fight for injustice in this world, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So like a lot of people don't like it because like a lot of Christians don't like it because they say the LGBT and all of that stuff. But it's just like for me, man, I don't.
You're just about the message. Like you're just
exactly.
It's like I don't care kind of where it started or who's funding it. If there is something bad or whatever behind it, but the actual sentiment of it is really good, and that's what I'm supporting.
Exactly. That's exactly it right there, bro.
Right. So I know I wanted to ask you about the National Guard, which you did speak about that experience. Have you had the opportunity to speak with any other like police officers or kind of any sort of officials while you've been out there and kind of just had an open convo? Like, has there been good progress that you've been able to see?
Yeah. So it was crazy. I'm gonna be completely honest, and a lot of people may not agree with this. But I'm gonna be completely honest with another conversation I had. I had a conversation with a Black cop yesterday, and I was just like, man, the only reason I'll talk to my mom about this today, and the only reason I said this was because he was a cop, and I totally disagree. I agree with what he said, but I was just trying to see what I was trying to pick his mind because I'm very intelligent. So it's just like, yo, I know how to pick people's minds. So I was just gonna see where he stood on this. So I was like, man, unlike all these other, I use the word lunatics. I said, unlike these other lunatics, we're protesting peacefully. And he told me, he was like, yo, he was like, man, don't you ever use that word lunatics again. He said, how can you tell other people how to hurt? You feel what I'm saying? He said, how can you tell other people? He was like, when a lot of like white people, I'm just gonna be honest, they burnt down Black Wall Street, you know. They beat us and killed us. Even like I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. In Selma, they beat us to bloody popes, burned down crosses, and things like that. Yeah. And it's just like in those times, we didn't tell these people how to, you know, how to do stuff. I guess they was just spewing hate, but it's just like, yo, I didn't tell them, like we didn't tell them that they couldn't do that. And I guess it made their point get across. But it's just like a lot of people don't know. People saying, oh well, MLK, you know, he was peaceful. He was peaceful. But after MLK got murdered, you know what happened? Like, yo, it was riots. I'm talking about burning buildings and stuff. Like people don't know that though, because they just see these cute pictures. You know what I mean? And then after that, what bill got passed? We were able to vote. You know what I'm saying? Like we were finally able to vote after the riots happened. So it's just like we had to make our mark, even though like a lot of Christians might say, well, you shouldn't get violent and stuff like that, which I agree with. But at the same time, I'm just like, yo, we've been fighting this for over 300 years. We've been fighting the same thing since slavery days. My great grandma was fighting this. Like my great great grandparents was fighting the same thing. It just and people say, well, it got better. I was just like, no, it didn't get better. What it did, it just played through the system now. It's through the system. It's not plain as it used to be, but it's through the system and it's systematic now. So we're still oppressed, and we're still, as Black people, we're like, this country is not a free country. You know what I mean? We can walk and go into different restaurants and stuff, but when it comes to getting jobs and jobs and different opportunities, even as a Christian, like in certain churches, convert, like just said, even in certain churches, like we're not welcome in certain churches. They may not say get out, they may not say that, but by actions you can tell a lot of churches don't even want us there anymore because like, or we're too emotional or too loud or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. It's kind of, and I just thought of this while you were saying it. It's kind of like a little kid when the parents are like, finish your food, and you kind of just push around the stuff and spread it out and make it look like there's a lot less food on the plate. That's kind of like what we do with problems here. It's like you have the huge pile of food, and you're like, well, if we kind of like spread it out, it'll look like things got a little better, right? So that's the same analogy. Now, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then because we have an hour for this, and I got 20 minutes for Cutright next. How can we help? Just I guess we white people or people who aren't black, and what do you see in communities right now that you think is a big need that people can contribute to?
Yo, so it's crazy because I was just watching Just Mercy today, and I'm still like my brain is still trying to pick this right now. So there's a dude named Brian Stevenson who helped this guy, he got wrongly accused of a murder of a white woman. You know what I mean? And by the end of the movie, if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. By the end of the movie, something happened, and a white voice helped this man get out of his situation. So it was just like, at first this white man was like really, really racist, and he's still racist. Like, oh, well, the NAACP said, I'm racist. You are. You like you are. Like, so like you lied on this man because he was black. So it's just like, okay, as a community of white people who really believe in justice, what I need people to do, what I think y'all should do, is actually like Chad Horton, man, like, yo, this dude dislike Trump probably more than me. You know what I mean? I'm not a Trump supporter at all, and I'm glad I can talk about this freely on Rapzilla. Y'all don't really care, but this dude don't like Trump probably more than me, and it's just like we need the Chad Horton voice because a lot of these people think we're delusional. A lot of white people think we're crazy. And if it's just black people screaming, "Oh, Black Lives Matter," or police brutality or injustice in this country, it'll be harder to get our point across than when there's a white person saying, "Oh no, this really does exist." So I posted a picture yesterday with this old white lady. She probably like 70 years old. And she was like, oh, we've been fighting for this for many years. And she said, you guys are the next generation. This is a white lady. And she said, look, don't be quiet, a white lady. So it's just like, we need y'all to actually stand up for injustice with us and put our hands up and put your hands up with us and be like, no, this really goes on. And I'm standing with my black brothers and sisters. It's deeper than it's deeper than us versus them. You feel what I'm saying? It's the kingdom or it's injustice versus us. You feel what I'm saying? And we find injustice together. And it's the kingdom versus sin at the same time. Like, and if you're a believer, man, last thing I'll say is like, if you're a believer, you have to be fighting for justice. Jesus fought for justice. When I look at John chapter 4, man, like Jesus was not supposed to be talking to the Samaritan woman. You know what I mean? That's a form of justice. You know what I mean? Like bringing people together. And because the Jews didn't talk to these type of people. So our Savior, the people that these people in these churches claim they worship, like our Savior even got out of his comfort zone to stand up for a life that mattered to him. So.
All right, everyone, that was Rockstar JT. Good stuff, man. Keep killing it.
Hey, man, love you, Jay.
Keep making news and headlines outside of Rapzilla, because we're easy to get on. You just got to make good music. But when you get on the news, I can't help you with that. But all right, everyone, that's JT. Keep killing it, man. Peace. Be safe out there, bro. Everyone, stay tuned for Richard Cutright coming on right now. All right, everyone. Always making a grand entrance. Cutright of Just His League coming in
what's up?
With sirens blazing like he's a wrestler. So
John Cena! I'm out here, guy.
I saved the comedy for last, so everyone could feel good about the serious discussion. But I've had a ton of conversations with you over the last couple of days. So I already know how you feel about George Floyd and the whole situation. So maybe like briefly just tell us how that hit you when you first heard about it and how it impacted you.
I mean, when I first heard about it, I saw the pictures, I saw people talking about it. I didn't want to watch it at first. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I didn't want to watch it. I already kind of was reeling from dealing with what happened with Ahmaud. That joint like shook my heart. It really broke my whole heart. You know what I mean? And then when it came to my wife, she was like, "Hey, what's going on? Who's this George Floyd thing was going on?" I tried to tell her about it. She was like, "What?" So we sat together and we watched the video. And when I watched the video for those almost 9 minutes, like I ended up crying in my wife's lap, yo. Like I cried in my wife's lap. And I was uttering, why do they want to kill us? Why is it that why do our lives not matter? Why did that man's life not matter? Like you had an opportunity, even after he was dead, you still disregarded the cries for help. And I felt such a bubbling of anger, you know what I'm saying? That I just wanted I ain't gonna front, but I was cussing, I was ready to fight, I was ready to throw some stuff, you know what I'm saying? I was ready, it broke my heart, and it caused such a real angry emotion that as a believer, sometimes like we try to put aside because we try to be kingdom minded, but then still seeing everything in the natural what goes on. Like we can't just be unaffected. We're not robots. It affects us, especially with something like this. You know what I'm saying? That felt so heartless and so cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
no, really, that's real.
It really broke something in me. You know what I'm saying? I felt like it broke something in me, and tried to disrupt the compassion that I try to have for my brothers and sisters of different colors, and even towards police officers and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I feel that. And you've been out there like almost every single day
Facts.
in your city in Charlotte, right? Have you been going surrounding cities or just Charlotte?
Nah, man, just Charlotte. Yo, Charlotte is crazy. It's been so much going on in the city of Charlotte from last Friday to it calmed down last night. Today we just got back actually from marching with the NAACP and doing something out there. Got a chance to chop it up with some officers about things that we can possibly put in place to have a forum to discuss stuff. And every single night, you know what I'm saying, either me or my team is out there, because like we run deep. We're Christian hip hop Wu-Tang out here. You know what I mean? Like 12 of us. So if we're always out there. Somebody's out there. 2 nights ago, was in the midst of the protest, and somebody got saved. Accepted the Lord. So I mean, we're here in the city being peacemakers and not peacekeepers. You know what I mean?
Right. No, awesome. And you got to be on the news last week.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't on purpose, right? You kind of just like walked into it and started.
Bro, so what happened, I'm saying, you already know me, bro. Like I be going off. Like I be going. So what happened was, right? What had happened was, like, we was in the middle of the protest. We trying to stop the police from rolling up on people. We trying to, in the midst of keeping the crowd calm. And I'm saying that there's mad people out there with cameras. So just, so somebody asked a question. So I just turned around. It was like, so, I mean, just giving them, giving them my heart. And by the time I finished, the dude, he reached out his hand, was like, "Thank you so much." And I was like, "Oh, snap, it's Channel 9 News out here." I'm saying ABC affiliate. I'm out here on the news. And then that's when my mother blew my phone up with my grandma, like, "What was you?" Man, bro, I got an earful, yo. My mom didn't know I was out there. I was on grown man on punishment, on protest punishment out here. You know what I'm saying? In these streets trying to make a difference. So yeah, man, it was
Did anything
it was wild.
come of that? Did anything come of that? Because I know you guys exchanged information. Have you followed up or anything?
So he got our information. He didn't, it was like a kind of date. He was like, "I'll call you," type of thing. So he got my information. I tried to reach out to him just to follow up to see if there's something that we can do to create momentum in the city to try to make that change. But I haven't gotten anything, because it's crazy out there. They're still out in the streets, so they themselves don't have a chance to decompress. You know what I mean? Like, just like Rockstar was saying, the officers is out there like that. A lot of the media out there like that. You know what I mean? They living off monsters, and they turning into monsters because they drinking too many monsters. You know what I'm saying? And and that's real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But you know, the thing about the news, I got a whole bunch of calls, and a lot of people really appreciated what I had to say. But it was just, you know, just from the heart. You know, I think in times like this, it's imperative for us to be real, to be honest, to be open, but also be in our transparency, man, to try to give grace. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to let your emotions override everything and just and throw stones at people. You know what I'm saying? And people, they want to burn stuff down. And the thing that we were trying to communicate to the riders, like, you know, in destruction, you know what I'm saying, there's no plan to rebuild nothing. So if we're gonna tear it down, I agree. Let's restructure this whole thing. Let's rebuild it, but let's have a plan before we take this action. So when we finish, we have something to build up, and we can work together and put that same energy we put in tearing it down, we can put into building it up. You know what I'm saying? So it take us sitting down together.
It's just like anything in life. If you just head first jump into something with no plan, you're here and they're like, all right, now what?
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
It's like Mike Tyson says, like, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So like you're tearing down your neighborhood, that's the punch in the mouth. And it's like, okay, now what? Now what do we do? We wrecked everything. Can you talk about the post you made today about Black Lives Matter and the gospel? Like, kind of, can they coexist? Or that post you made on Instagram today?
Yeah, so there's a brother in Charlotte for like 10 years. His name, we call him Sam the Jesus Man. He on the corner, straight up like John in the Wilderness. Jesus, hey! I mean, he be out there. You can hear him from corner to corner from downtown. And on the first night that we went out, that there was some brother that tried to like attack him. You know what I'm saying? There's like, you know, what you're doing, you're not helping the movement. You know what I'm saying? And then we went out again, and some people tried to, you know, attack him again. And, you know, Sam was still out there. And I talked to a good brother about it. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, he said, you know, that, well, I understand what Sam is doing, but in this moment in time, what he's doing is insensitive to the cares of the people, because the focus is Black Lives Matter. And of course, as a believer, we're like, well, Black lives do matter, but Jesus died for them. It matters so much that Christ gave his life. You know what I'm saying? So from the desert, for most of all, more than to any of us, Black lives matter to God that much. You know what I'm saying? That he entered flesh and spent time and dwelled among us and paid for our sins. You know what I'm saying? So that we can enter in and split the veil. And you know the whole nine. I'm about to take offering right now just because I'm breaking it down. You know what I'm saying? But because of that, it created a question, like, you know, is it insensitive? You know what I'm saying? All right. So what happened today while we was out there, the question after I asked it, I was confronted with it in a different context, where the NAACP was out there, was giving a message about what they're trying to do with reform. They're trying to, you know, talk to the people about what the next move is. And while they're trying to talk and give this information, Sam is in the middle of Jesus say, like bellowing, and people can't hear. Even me, myself, was like, hey, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to hear like what they're saying. Like in the midst of protesting and marching, you know what I'm saying? I felt like it was there, you know what I'm saying? It was needed as a call to remind people, hey, I know that all this anger is there. I know that all this craziness is going on, but don't forget, Jesus saves. You know what I'm saying? So these lives that are in danger, that are in peril, you know what I'm saying, know that Jesus is right here, you know what I'm saying? But today, I felt like that it was kind of insensitive for him to be, you know what I'm saying, while people was listening. Now, after everything went out and he started marching again, he was out there with the Jesus Saves, and everybody was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But in the midst of them sharing, the NAACP sharing their plans, for trying to do a peaceful protest, for trying to urge, you know, the crowd to stay peaceful, to give out their agendas and stuff. It was like people won't listen to what you have to say if they don't know that you care enough, that you're not making your agenda the thing. You know what I'm saying? So if you nobody wants to hear Jesus saved if you aren't there to show them love and compassion, because that's what Jesus did. He showed love and compassion to us, and then he saved us. You know what I'm saying? And through saving us, even, I'm saying, he showed compassion, he rescued, he healed, he showed compassion on the cross. I mean, he showed compassion even today as he hold God hold his wrath back. He's still showing compassion, you know what I'm saying? So for us to be in that place, I felt like, man, that the gospel has its place in the midst of what's going on with Black Lives Matter. But I think that those are out who are out there like Sam need to be considerate and compassionate and really be led by the Holy Spirit, not just be zealous and throwing stuff out there. Because man, people out there are gonna be like, yo, that's why I rock with Christians, because they throwing their agenda in the midst of this instead of really showing support and being compassionate and showing empathy for what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. And somebody dropped what ACAB means. It means all cops are bad. So how do you feel about that statement? I don't think they're saying that that's what the statement is, but that's kind of a movement that's happening. Like there's no such thing as good cops.
I mean, well, I feel all people have the potential to be bad. All cops got the potential to be bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at the organization and the roots, the where it grew up, you know what I'm saying, from where it started out, from in the South as slave catchers and all that. One of my homeboys posted a post that kind of stirred mad controversy this past week. He was like, are there any good terrorists? Are there any good Nazis? Yeah, if you're connected to an organization that terrorizes people, or have from the beginning, no matter how good that individual is, that they're still connected to that organization. You know what I'm saying? But then I had a conversation with some officers, like we said, we talked to some officers even about that, and I think it still comes down to the heart of the person. You know what I'm saying? If you give a good person a gun and they really truly care about the community, they're gonna try to protect people. If you get somebody with a bad heart, a gun, they're gonna abuse that power. They're gonna terrorize people. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna take all the stuff that they want. They're gonna rob people. They can do whatever they want to do because it's in their heart. So the question is not all cops are bad. It's just all hearts are bad. And without Christ, we left to lawlessness. You know what I'm saying? Without that love of God, even got us. You know what I mean?
Look at Cutright bringing it together.
Right, sir. It's comedy and wisdom. I'm a Big Mac. The bread of life is in the middle of the beef.
You've been out in the streets having these conversations, so you're on game right now. You're locked in. So
word.
Before we get out of here, tell me, like, what do you normally, under normal circumstances, because there's a lot of non-normal circumstances happening between this and Corona, what do you do with the Just His League crew and within the communities and Charlotte and the surrounding areas?
So, the Just League, because there's so many of us, we're always active in the community, whether it's serving the homeless with Black Love Charlotte. We partner with them. Ever since this coronavirus thing started, they've been out there 5 days a week, feeding the homeless, clothing, providing sleeping bags and such. So we partnering with them. That my brother, Emmanuel 3, him and his wife, shout out to my dude Fresh. They have a awesome ministry that they started called Hope Vibes, in which they provide hygiene packets and such for the homeless community. Actually, they about the next month unveil their mobile shower and laundry tank, you know what I mean, that they've been working on for a whole year. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing that vision, I was like 2 years ago, seeing my bro Jeremy and Manny try to draw up the plans for that and praying over it, and now seeing that come to fruition where they're able to serve and help the homeless community. I'm saying, like, hey, just feel good and take pride in who they are. You know what I'm saying? A shower could change people's lives. Outside of that, me and my bro Ike out here with the Realize Anything Possible tour. Several hundred schools in the past 3 school years before coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? And impacting lives, man, and encouraging the youth. And just trying to let them know that anything is possible. You saw the kick, you know what it is. You know it's real out here. And it's, with all of us, our thing is that we want to impact not only our community in Charlotte, but we want to continue to impact the world, to encourage the body to be the body. You know what I'm saying? The league was made up of believers from different denominations, different races, different backgrounds. I'm a super nerd, and some cats was out there selling packs and been to jail, shootouts and all of that. Now, we all are saved by the grace of God. We all have our stories. We all have our strengths. But the thing that helps us move, have been together for 10 years, is the thing that helps us move is our love for Christ and our love for our city. And that's why even at a time like this, we was like, we were made for such a time as this. All you guys that are out there that are moving in your city right now, that are on the front lines, that you're being effective, that are making your voice heard, know that we were born for such a time as this. Not just to use our gift. God has not just given us a gift to rap. God has given us a gift to speak. Our voices are meant to be trumpets in this time, not only to herald and to empower. So if If you know who you are, you're calling. Bars is cool. I love rap. I can rap with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? But my bars are meaningless if my action don't match up with it. And we're out here to show action, not only to show. West said the kingdom is not in words, but in power. I'm saying in power. So let us be able to show that power. Let us be able to show that love, to be the hands and feet, and to be out there. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Bro, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody want to be on a Rapzilla list. Say, I'm trying to be on a change list. Let's be on your front lines. You say you dropping lines. Let's be on the front lines and make change. Let's see what's going on in your city. How are you affecting communication? Because at the end of the day, if I never sell another record, but I'm able to change somebody's life, to impact and encourage my community to be better, I'm good, yo. I'm good, and that's the only thing that matters. What legacy are you leaving? Because the digital sales is going to stop. The digital sales is going to stop. The music going to change. You ain't going to sell no records. You know what I'm saying? Your sound going to change unless you're going to be 48 years old with skinny jeans on, with knees busting out, trying to sound, you know what I mean, bro? It's not about that. Switch your attitude and be effective. God has given us the power of his Holy Spirit to move with authority, with compassion, with empathy, and with power, and to speak with that power and to make change and shift some things. You know what I'm saying? But we can't shift nothing if we ain't in a place. What God told Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1:9. Jeremiah's like, what I'm going to do? Well, God said, show up and I'm going to put my words in your mouth. If we ain't going to show up, ain't no words going to come out. Are you positioned? Are you positioned? If not, you know what I mean, get out of here. Y'all concerned about a playlist. Be in position and get right. And let God position you and speak with power and authority that you have. Be listening to the Holy Spirit, let his power work within you, and you're going to see change. You're going to make those connections and see your city change, see your community change. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. You love yourself enough to put in that time for the studio. You know what I'm saying? You love to dedicate that time, that same time. See what you can do to help out. Not just because I'm trying to see what I can get, but what I can give. Because giving is the blessing. The blessing is giving. So give your time. Say, give your heart. Give your compassion. Say, give your ideas. Connect and make community. Because in community, change happens. Build an army. It's such a time as this. I'm sorry, bro. Because, you know, I be so funny in that. But when I feel that in my heart, man. You know what I'm saying? It's time, bro, for such a time as this. There's so many things that I've written, so many songs that I've written, where I've seen in the past, and looking, said Rapzilla to 25,000 views. Thank you for, you know what I mean, back in 4 years ago. And we was talking about, you know, what you looking at me, you better start your running. Days of the future are passing. Apocalypse coming. You know what I'm saying? It's time to make war. No toilet paper. We about to start dumping. Like 6 years ago, bro, said we was about to have our 10 years, we was about to have our 10-year anniversary, right? What that joint was called? Days of the Future Past. What happened? We ran out of toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? There's all this other stuff that was happening, man, where God has given us power and authority and said he poured his spirit out upon us. So let's act like it and get out there and know that the living God is with us, bro. That's it, bro. The living God is with us. Who gonna be against us? What they gonna do? What they gonna do? And I think the thing that needs, and it's cool to be out there in the daytime, because I was out there in the daytime with the church, and the church with their signs, you know what I'm saying? But in the nighttime is where we need to be out there to show love and compassion, to stand, to be in the gap. Because in the daylight, everything cool, but in the nighttime when the ratchets come out, you know what I'm saying? But when you're going to meet that ratchet, say with the righteousness of God, and show hands and show love and help give people, because people acting out of their own emotions, man, to show love, compassion, and give them the energy, guide them to show that empathy and help build cats. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Oh, yeah, no toilet paper, bro. I got Charmin on deck. I bought like 48 rolls. My wife went to Costco. I had bought, you know what I'm saying? We got Dex rolls on deck. Who need a roll? You know what I'm saying? Look, we got a slogan. It say, if you care about you think about their hole, give a roll. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Give a roll. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. They have the Drake meme that I just flipped the switch, bro. You just flipped the switch.
Bro, that'd be happening.
You were at 0 to 100. I was hoping that the stream wouldn't end because Instagram gives you an hour and we're already at 10:04. I guess I started a little late, but you got all of that in. You were like the altar call at the end of the concert.
Well,
we had Angie Rose and Rockstar JT. Well, here comes Pastor Cutright to come up here and send you all out with a blessing. And that's what you just did. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Angie Rose, Rockstar JT, and Richard Cutright of Just His League. All of y'all really blessed us today. Gave everyone something to think on. And go follow these artists and go see what they're doing for their communities, so you can actually see that they're not just talking to me, but they're actually out there living it and doing it. Don't talk about it, be about it.
That's right. Wait, Justin, if we're going to end this, we got to end it right. Let the stream say amen. Let the stream say hey. Well, you supposed to join in, bro. Let the stream say
Amen. I'm gonna let you take it. I'm not trying to do this live right now.
Word, bro. Word, bro. Hey, man, thank you so much for having me, bro.
Myself. All right, bro. Thank you so much. Be safe out there. We appreciate all the work you're doing, and everyone watching. Take care. Be blessed. Be safe. Social distancing. Stand up for what's right, even if there's people in opposition of what the right thing is.
Even if you got to stand by yourself, yo, because God's standing with you. Let me stop, bro, because we about to go a whole nother 12 minutes, bro.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Again, there was Angie Rose, Rockstar JT, and Richard Cutright. I hope you all are blessed. Take it easy. Have a good night.